Book 2, page 198. The trip from Fort Halcyon to Dustpool Hold was not long. I traveled alone, and I was thankful for that. The lack of sleep found me moving far slower than I wished. The trek reminded me of the many marches I did with Neela and the Valguard training unit in Lowland Outpost. Even though it has only been a few weeks, it felt like a very distant memory now. I stopped briefly in Gritfield, taking a respite in the shade after a long afternoon under the harsh desert sun. The small, sandy village was very different from my hometown of Westmar. The architecture is stout and the materials strong to protect from the frequent sandstorms and baking sun, but it has an air of elegance and craft I have not seen before. The village was quite active in the early morning, with many workers heading off to the Brostone mines to the north or the logging camps in Shadowgrace to the west. Dustpool is known much more for the savvy and brilliance of their merchants than the hard work of their laborers. It was surprising to see the other side of all that glitter. I stopped at a small fruit cart along one of the avenues and was immediately reminded of home. They did not sell Yuricots, but they did have shimmer plums. I remember many years ago getting a bag of dried shimmer plums that tasted so sweet with just a hint of salt. I was shaken from my reminiscing when the purveyor told me I was very lucky to find fresh shimmer plums. He said they usually only have a 2-week season, and this one had lasted a full 19 days. These had only been picked a few days ago, and so were still near peak freshness. Shimmer plums come from glitterbark trees, which are amazing plants. They flower and fruit incredibly rapidly based on the amount of water the roots can absorb in a short period of time. These trees, which are really more like bushes, are only found in Dustpool's deserts. Before this trip, I had never seen one with my own eyes. In books, they're described as mostly scraggly, without many leaves during most of the year. During Dustpool's brief rainy season, the trees bloom bright purple flowers in small clusters. Their perfumed scent fills the air, creating sweet winds that are said to fill the entire region. Within days, their fruits appear, ripen, and drop. Hours after the rains stop and pools of water evaporate, the trees go back to their dormant state. The shimmer plum was exactly what I needed to refresh myself. I packed up quickly and made for the northern pass of Gritfield. A short walk from there, and I got my first view of Dustpool Hold. A large golden dome shined far off in the distance, glittering so brightly in the midday sun that I couldn't look directly at it. It appeared from this distance that the walls themselves were glimmering as well. I could not tell until I got much closer, but the entire hold was filled with a large series of channels and fountains, diverting water all throughout the castle and surrounding city. I was taken aback by the opulence required to create an oasis in the desert, but I did marvel at the engineering and craftsmanship required to build such a feat. I was met at the front gates by another Valkeeper initiate and was escorted into the main hall. I was surprised by her outfit. It was not the standard vestments, cloak, and hood of the order. She wore a sharply cut doublet and stylish trousers with a hint of golden thread along the seams. I hoped that I would be able to wear the uniform as well, as it seemed far more practical for the desert climate. All along the pathway were busy shops with merchants and customers haggling for the best price. There was all manner of goods for sale, everything from bright patterned tapestries to large vases and much more. It was easy to see why Dustpool was known as the Jewel of the Highlands and the main economic nexus. But more than material goods, I was more excited for the wealth of knowledge the city offered. I'm sure Father would be most proud that I will be trained by the best in the Dustpool conglomerate in all manner of accounting and business. I just hope I also get to learn some of the history of this place as well. We traveled up a series of ramps near the center of the hold and entered the Great Hall, though it was unlike any hall I had ever seen. There are no walls, and the dome ceiling sits atop a number of ornate pillars. At this point, I was left to await my new master, Duncan Grandwell, the cousin of the current Hand of Commerce. Inside the Great Hall is a massive glitterbark tree, more enormous than I could have ever imagined. The entire structure surrounding the tree acts as a well, allowing water to flow down to the glitterbark's roots and allowing it to stay in constant bloom. The smell was intoxicating. Below the tree was a massive banquet filled with foods I'd never dreamed of tasting. It all seemed so luxurious against the stark desert backdrop in the distance. I stood there for what seemed like an eternity, without any guest so much as looking in my direction. When Master Grandwell did appear, it was clear he had been enjoying a bit too much glow blush brandy. I was shocked to see a man of his rank, a Valkeeper of authority and prestige, in such a state so early in the afternoon. Had he not obligations to attend to this afternoon? He greeted me quickly, swaying a bit as he told me a number of facts about the glitterbark tree behind him. It was clear this was the crown jewel of Dustpool Hold. Dustpool's opulence shined as brightly as the tree's bark, and I couldn't help but compare it to Gritfield village that I passed through earlier in the day. I'd been to large cities before, having spent much time in Fort Halcyon, but this felt completely foreign to me. Where Fort Halcyon was built to be a home for many people, Dustpool Hold felt like a palace built for very few. Duncan had me escort him to his chambers in the eastern part of the hold, which is where I will be staying. Once inside, he quickly fell asleep, and I retreated to my room to rest as well. I pulled out the last shimmer plum I had purchased the day before and enjoyed that for dinner. Tomorrow, I will make my way to the Valkeeper stores in Luxfall to start my internship there.